concerning turn of affairs. A new audit has laid bare a crisis at the heart of South Africa's National Defence Force. Listen to this. Only 27% of our soldiers are currently declared fit for deployment. Thousands of others are reportedly unfit, while for a substantial share, over 35%, health and readiness status remains unknown. That's the revelation that I think we can all agree raises urgent questions about capacity, morale, the funding of the SANDF, and whether the army can fulfill its constitutional mandate or contribute meaningfully to regional peacekeeping. And to help us pass these implications, we speak today with defense analyst Ricardo Teixeira. Ricardo, thank you so much for joining us. We always knew that the SANDF was going through some problems. It was tough. It was underfunded. But having only 27% of our troops being fit for deployment, it feels unprecedented. It feels scary. What does this moment mean for South Africa and our defense forces?
Morning, and thank you very much for having me. This is the result of 31 years of ANC policy in terms of our defense and national security. There's no other way around it. That is the fact of the matter. 31 years of a failure to institute a national security strategy that understood the threats we face, the importance of the defense force, and appropriately funded our defense to the level that it requires. Again, this is not a surprise. This has been something that's been a long time coming. The writing has been on the wall for many years, and it's clear to see. I still have no doubts that SANDF can defend the country any day of the week, as long as it's not the 8th day. A lot of the equipment is now reaching the point where it's either over 40 years old or it's approaching 50 years old. Next year, the Ratel infantry fighting vehicle will have been in service for 50 years. Most of our artillery is still from the mid-80s. The Casper's been around since the 70s. Our standard issue service rifle is well over 40 years old. And most of the average age of personnel is 39 years old. So there's a lot in the military that is way overdue an upgrade. And the intakes of new personnel is not large enough and not happening often enough to start filling the ranks with young, fit, healthy people.
And I want to focus on that because the numbers themselves are rather concerning. What does a 27% fit for deployment actually mean in SANDF terms? Does that cover, general physical health, mental fitness, or training readiness, or maybe just all of the above combined?
All of the above. Although using the term combat ready is I think, hopeful. Having witnessed the Army's annual exercise, Bukushlomi 4, where this photo behind me was taken at the end of November, the Army had 9,000 troops that were partaking in the exercise, with about 6,000 of them being under its new Rapid Mobile Modern Brigade, which is modern in name only. Does not have the ability to be rapid. None of the equipment is new. But again, at the end of the day, that was only 6,000 personnel out of a total of about 71,000 in the entire defense force. If you include the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and the military health services, 6,000 personnel seem to be what we can truly muster in terms of a conventional deterrence. And again, the last Friday at the Army church service, the end of year church service, the Chief of the Army, Lieutenant General Lawrence Mbata, noted that there are 11,000 personnel in the defense force that are HIV positive, and only 6,000 of them are on ARVs. Now, it's against the law to ask soldiers if they are HIV positive, and it's not supposed to be disclosed. But if 11,000 out of 71,000, that's roughly 1 in 7 soldiers that are HIV positive, but we can't ask. So this is a serious concern. If you find yourself in a combat situation and you are wounded, or the person next to you is wounded, you don't know if they are HIV positive. They don't know if you are HIV positive, and it'll make soldiers very hesitant to provide aid to their fellow soldiers.
Very, very concerning. Fixing the crisis, is it feasible? Some argue that, increasing the budget might help. But I think you also previously said that, money alone won't solve the problem. What else must be done, to fix the SANDF? Is it a leadership overhaul of some sort, major recruitment drives, or just a systemic reform inside the organization itself?
It's going to be a very long process. It's not going to be simple. It's going to be new strategy, new leadership, new recruitment, new doctrine, new equipment. This is if we embark on it now, it's going to be a 10-year process that is going to cost hundreds of billions over a 10-year period. And again, it's just not something that's going to happen overnight. If we want a military to be able to defend us tomorrow, we should have done this 10 years ago when we started with the 2015 Defense Review, which still has not been implemented. Here we are 10 years later, and they're still on point one, which is arrested decline. Again, it is such a complex issue. It is not going to be fixed overnight. There is not one silver solution that, just put that guy in charge and everything will be fine. This is a major piece of work that needs to be done.
Lastly, before I let you go, Ricardo, just beyond the readiness of our troops, what does this crisis signal about, let's say, South Africa's strategic posture, both domestically and also regionally? Are we sliding from being a security actor to being a liability?
Yes, I would say that regionally, the state of our defence force is a liability. If you look at how South Africa's had to respond to crises within the region, even going as far back as 1998 with Operation Bullias, where at that time the government had decided that we would never again be involved in a conflict outside of our borders, and we would never intervene in any sort of issue. And that immediately proved to be false when there was a coup in Lesotho, and we had to intervene to stabilize the government, and we stabilized Lesotho for a generation. But that was immediately counter to what the government's policy was. And still the government had this policy of, we are going to contribute towards silencing the guns on the continent, but the only ones that have gotten silent are our own. Now, the principle of deterrence rests on two pillars: capability and credibility. And due to 31 years of underfunding and capability, we've seen a loss of credibility when we look at what happened in the DRC with SAMI DRC, our inability to deal with the insurgency in northern Mozambique. We were there for 2 years and we packed up and left and said mission accomplished, and that clearly has not been achieved. And now our international stance is damaged due to the fact that we have no deterrence and no credibility. I took personal issue with the president just before the G20, saying that it cannot be that a country's army and economy determine who gets a voice. But that's very much how diplomacy works. Diplomacy is a carrot and stick approach. There's a reason why the US has the sway that it does, the Russians and the Chinese as well. It's because they are able to back up their rhetoric with very large, capable militaries. It's the carrot and stick. You cannot have a carrot and try to think everyone's going to be your friend. I mean, as President Zelensky said at the UN a few months ago, the only things that matter are friends and weapons. And we need to seriously take a good hard look in the mirror and realize, do we really have any friends? And we don't have any weapons. So if we are in a situation where we need either, what are we going to do?
Ricardo Teixeira, defense analyst, thank you so much for joining us and painting that very, very bleak picture. Really appreciate it. There we go. Yeah, you can engage with us. You can give us a call 01168000355, or you can WhatsApp us on 06176600355. What do you think needs to happen to have the SANDF fixed? What do you think the government needs to do to make sure that our army or defense force, the first line of defense to South Africa's sovereignty, you and I, any external dangers from whatever enemies South Africa might have made throughout the years, the first line of defense is the SANDF, and 27% of our soldiers are fit for duty. Only 27%. Very concerning state of affairs. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, news and views continues.